My name is Pat Moffett, and I have a film called Ice Cream in the Cupboard. It's a story about my wife, Carmen, and I, and her coping with early onset Alzheimer's. I wanted to create this movie to expand on Ice Cream in the Cupboard, the book, because the awareness in film is a wider range worldwide than a book could do. In the end, what the viewer will see is that sometimes love loses its memory.
I don't care what anybody says. I'm a local girl too.
It's great.
I met Carmen when she was, I guess, 29 years old. I think I was 25. It's a 4-year difference between us, and I came back from Vietnam. My feet weren't on the ground, and did have a first marriage that lasted about 9 months. So, and when I met Carmen, she just leveled off everything in me. She was, just had to, take command. And she just, it always seems like she was just beyond her years of knowledge in the world. And I was gladly following this beautiful woman, and couldn't have been more thrilled. Yeah, we had lunch for about 3 hours and discussed each other's lives from almost the beginning of time. We had 2 kids, and Carmen had 3 children before, so raising 5. When I told my mother that, she thought I had lost my mind completely because she didn't think I could raise me. In any case, we had that, and I took that responsibility on, and Carmen always said, my children will love you the way I love you, and that's the end of it. I don't want to hear any more about it. But as time went on, expenses got bigger. She was angry just about everything. And although husband and wife bicker all the time, this was a little bit much. So I suggested that we go to Puerto Rico. She was born in Puerto Rico. And let's have a romantic weekend. Let's get ourselves back together. And we went out for dinner. And we were in a 3rd-story veranda kind of a table. And I was looking down, and I said, look over the cars, and seeing all these old cars that because of the temperature in Puerto Rico, they last much longer than they would up in, say, New York in the northern parts of the country. And when I looked back, I was hit in the face with an entire plate of steak and lobster. Very similar to the movie, where what we do there is that we use a anniversary cake. And she immediately picks up the cake and hits the husband. And that's where we wanted to bring that out to show the loved ones that maybe have to deal with this disease someday. This is something that you may happen, and it might be a lot more serious. When she was finally diagnosed, she said to me, even at that point in time, because she was concerned about what my feelings would be, she said, listen, let's sit down for a minute, I need to talk to you. I said, okay, and I didn't know what was happening that day, but she was going for a test ordered by the school where she worked. And she said to me, I have a touch of Alzheimer's, just a touch. Almost saying to me, don't worry, this is just going to be just fine. And it wasn't. Of course, the forgetfulness is always the universal, right? But that doesn't mean it will manifest itself as forgetfulness and, okay, that's it, let's get a test. In Carmen's case, it was a matter of violence before the forgetfulness.
All right, set and action!
What's wrong?
Hey! Hey, don't touch me! Who are you? Go!
No, it's okay, it's okay. Baby.
You better leave here
Okay,
now!
Okay.
What do you want?
I don't want anything.
Go away from here now!
Okay.
I came home from work with my briefcase, tie, jacket, just like any other day. And she came down the stairs yelling and screaming, get out of my house. When my husband gets here, he's going to beat you up. And I said, it's me. You're not my husband. I don't care what you're telling me. So I just said, let me see how I can work around this. Went out the door, stayed out there for maybe 20 seconds, came back in, rang the bell, came in, and she goes, I'm glad you're home. Dinner's almost ready. And I was astonished. I had heard those things happen, but when it did happen, it was crushing for me, crushing. And I wasn't the sweetest guy in the world, and I don't think I could have written Cupboard in one sense, being the knight in shining armor, because that's not what I tell people when we talk about stories like this and we talk about our lives. I tell them that, you know, I messed up. I really messed up. I rolled a set of dice here that I could have lost the woman that I expected to be with forever by thinking of myself first. And when I stopped doing that and started being more of the family man, that's when things got much, much better.
Here we go. Quiet, please. And set.
Yeah, and Ice Cream in the Cupboard, the book, where Carmen was lost on the golf course in the rain. You know, in the real story, I said, meet me at my house. I have to take my wife home. She has Alzheimer's disease. Okay, I have a dog and an Alzheimer's patient in the pouring rain. You know, and but the way Drew directed it and Dana Ashbrook, it was like swinging the club all over the place. The two guys were shocked, and it was just so well done. But I think that the people that were around watching it when it was done just applauded. Just general people from the street watching it, passers-by, you know, they loved it. They didn't know what the movie was about, but, you know, they just thought that Dana just did that fabulous. So, and I think when I saw it, I couldn't believe it. Yeah, with Dr. Cohen, played by Jamie King, they have the discussion, you know, and when I saw that bothered me a lot. Because all I could think of was when I was told that she's not coming home at all. You know, that's the one that pulled the rug out from under me. And when they did that scene, and they did it perfectly, that one hurt a little bit when I saw the film. Jamie King, who played Dr. Cohen in this film, was in a role that was inspired by Dr. Giselle Wolfkind, Carmen's doctor. Claudia Ferri, who played my wife, was magnificent. Dana Ashbrook played me in this movie, and he wasn't as good looking as I was. No, just kidding. He was just wonderful. My daughter in the film was played by Amber Frank. My son was played by Julian Darcel. Tobin Bell, who played my father in this film, in a role that was actually inspired by my grandfather. But he played that very, very well. And I just like the story, that his lines in that, talking about the corned beef sandwich and the knish, it happened exactly that way. And I wrote it in Cupboard that way.
When you come here tomorrow, you bring me a corned beef on rye with mustard, all right? With a knish. And one of those full sour pickles that we used to get down at Delancey Street.
Mr. Moffett, everything you order is loaded with salt and bad for your heart.
The book Ice Cream in the Cupboard, as well as this film, is a Carmen story. It's not a Pat Moffett story. I was simply the man that put the words together and put the crew together that did the film. This is a Carmen story, and the American public has to realize that. Pay attention to what this woman went through, and you'll see for yourself what true love is really like. There was another medication that was accepted for Alzheimer's to slow down the disease. But it did create some sparks in the brain, very short term. All Carmen would be able to say was gibberish. And I was sitting with her one Sunday, and earlier that day, the caregiver said, "Do you notice anything about Carmen that's different? Are you hearing any words?" And I said, "No, I haven't heard words in months, you know." She said, I could have swore I heard some words. I said, oh, we'll see what happens. So we're watching television, and I'm holding her hand, and she turns to me and goes, we had a really good life. And for an instant, it was, this is all over now. This has just been a nightmare. I just heard her say that. Of course, she went right back to gibberish 2 seconds later. And I asked Dr. Wolfgang, I said, what was that medication? Sometimes it does spark, but it does go away. And you probably won't hear it again. But for an instant, everything was fine. We were back to ourselves again. Let's get out of here and go home and eat. Didn't happen.